All right, guys, we're at O'Reilly's, and the sun is glaring in my face. All right, guys, so we're at O'Reilly's. I'm gonna go get the part. All right, guys, so this is what we needed, the transmission plug. Basically, I didn't want to have to drain the fluid out of the transmission, so you just pop this thing into the rear hole, I guess, and it keeps the fluid from falling out.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
There's the one. So right as soon as I got the transmission plug put into it and took the car down off the jack stands, it started raining outside, so I wasn't able to push the car outside and get the motor out just yet. And so the car's just been sitting here because the weather's been pretty crappy. But I did want to show you guys this. As you can see, I got one of the rear CCWs on the car, and I think it's gonna work out pretty good. I was kind of scared that the offset wasn't gonna stick out as far as I wanted it to, but looking at it now, I think it's gonna work just fine. With the tire on, it's going to pretty much sit pretty flush with the fender, I think. It looks like it's sitting in a little, but that's just because there's a jack stand underneath this side, and so it's kind of leaning inward. The top of the wheel is kind of leaning inward. But yeah, I think they're gonna look pretty good. And if it's not sitting out as far as I want it to, then I'll either run a small spacer, or I'll get the extended wheel studs and run a little bit bigger spacer. All right, guys, so I got the car back up on jack stands, as you can see, and trying to get the engine mount bolts off. Pretty much what I'm doing is, let me pull this out for a second. Well, that got stuck. Okay, so what I got here is a 21 millimeter, and this is kind of the setup that I had to do. I only have a 3/8 socket swivel, so I had to pretty much go from a 1/2 inch ratchet to a 3/8 extension. Then I went from the 3/8 back to a 1/2 inch. And so you pretty much need a swivel on here just because of the angle that you have to go through. So I went right through the control arm and the tie rod, and then there's an opening. Okay, so there's an opening right through there, as you can see, and you need the swivel because you kind of need to angle it back towards you. But once you get it on there, you might want to add like a breaker bar, something like that, because it's definitely going to be pretty hard to get off. But yeah, I broke it loose and now I'm able to twist it off. All right, so the other side is literally the exact same. Just fit it in between the control arm and the tie rod, go through the, I guess that's the K-member. Go through the K-member and then you'll be able to get it. All right, so I got the transmission cross member off, and pretty much there are 2 nuts right in the middle that are 18 millimeter, and then there's a 13 millimeter bolt right here that you have to get out. And as you can see, I supported the transmission with the jack right there, so it didn't fall down as I was taking the bolts out. So that is out, and I can honestly say that it's getting really, really, God, I hate this thing. I can say that it's honestly getting hot outside, and so kind of taking a break, getting a little breather in. So pretty much all I have to do now is get the strap and put it around the motor. And then I also need to put together the engine hoist. I need to put the legs on it right there, as you can see, turn it around. And then I'm gonna start cranking this thing out of here and just watch it, make sure that there's no lines being kinked, nothing's connected still. But we are this close to getting the engine out, and honestly, I'm pretty excited. I really wanna get the oil pan off this thing, see what it looks like on the inside. Yeah, we're just super, super close to getting this thing running, so I'm really excited. All right, so I was able to finally get the strap on the motor, and what am I looking for here? I still got the jack underneath the transmission, just trying to keep it from leaning over too much. And then I also have a jack underneath the front of the car that I can lower or raise up as I pull the engine. So I took the hood off, as you can see. I also took the radiator out of the car just to give some extra clearance in case I needed it. And then I just got this thing sitting here so the engine hoist doesn't scratch the bumper. But yeah, I slowly started cranking it and it's moving, so it should be coming out, but I just slowly got to kind of work with it and see how it goes. All right, guys, so look just how close we are to getting the engine out. I mean, it's pretty much already out of the car, but I knew this might be an issue, so I'm gonna have to do a little bit of maneuvering with the transmission, but we're almost maxed out as far as the ceiling goes with the engine hoist. So I think what I'm gonna have to do is get it as high as I can and then just pick up the transmission from this side and pull it. I might have to get me an extra hand to either lift up the transmission or pull the engine hoist, but it's pretty much gonna be the only way to do it. Now I do have a little bit of room, actually I just thought of this. I do have a little bit of room to just lower the car down. That will probably be the best way to do it. So let's do that and let's see how much more clearance we actually get. So we got a little bit more, but might not quite be enough. It's close though, it's very close. All right guys, so there you go. I just kind of went on the other side of the car and I pulled the transmission over the top of it and then pushed the engine hoist while I was doing that. Got the Cobra engine transmission just hanging on the hoist, and Cobra's chilling now. I think what I'm gonna go ahead and do is push the car back to give me some room, and then I'm gonna try and figure out a good way to situate the engine and transmission. And basically the next thing that I would have to do, I do have an engine stand right there. I need to unbolt the transmission, get the motor onto the engine stand, but we'll take this step by step. Got to get the car outside. Dang, that's such a crazy sight. So since the engine is out of the car, I do plan on cleaning the engine bay the best I can. It's pretty dirty. I mean, it's not too bad. Definitely gonna clean that out. First, I need to figure out how to situate this thing so that way it's not just hanging here. So actually, I just remembered I do have this dolly, and so I'm gonna lower it down to where the transmission sits on there. So whenever I unbolt the transmission, it's already on a dolly that can maneuver around. Don't gotta pick it up if I need to move it somewhere. All right, so I got all this set up as I want it. I just put some jack stands underneath where the motor mounts go, right there, and got the transmission sitting level on the dolly. Put a strap over it just so whenever I unbolt it, it doesn't try and twist around on me. All right, guys, so I'm gonna call it quits here for tonight. I think it's pretty good day's worth of work. Got the motor out, got the transmission unbolted right there. Me and my brother put the hood back on the car, so that way, just in case it rains or something like that, it's good to go. Also, it just looks better because it's probably gonna have to be sitting out here for a little bit. So that's good to go. And yeah, next step is to pretty much flip the engine over and inspect the rod bearings. So hopefully that's something that I can just fix here in the garage myself. But as you guys know, if I can't, I plan on taking it to a shop, having them possibly just rebuild the bottom end and do whatever they got to do. But yeah, I mean, now I'm kind of debating whether or not I want to put a new clutch in the car. The one that's in it, I can't really tell if it was the stock clutch or not. Whenever I was driving the car, like on and off the trailer, and even whenever I drove it into the garage here, the clutch really didn't feel bad at all. It honestly gripped and felt better than the clutch that's in the Bullet right here. So I don't know. I mean, I think a new XD clutch for this thing is like $200 if I can keep the flywheel, which I don't know. I'll have to look at the flywheel again to see if I can reuse it, but I could get this one resurfaced for $50, get a new clutch for $200, and then, you know, that honestly might be worth it just because the motor's already out of the car, and who knows if this one has problems throughout the other gears or whatnot. So might be the best way to go about it, but I'm gonna end it here for tonight. So thank you guys for watching. As always, give this video a like if you enjoyed it, subscribe, and I will catch you guys in the next video.